Hello and welcome to an all-new unbiased gear review. Today we are taking a look at the Chapman Guitars ML3 Modern. First, let's go over the specifications of this guitar. We have a mahogany body with a flame maple veneer, with a bolted-on maple neck, and the streakiest ebony fingerboard you've ever seen in your life. There are 24 nickel frets. We have 18:1 ratio Chapman branded tuners. We have a Chapman branded bridge. Chapman Sonorous Zero humbuckers with a master volume, a master tone with a push-pull coil split, and a 3-way blade switch. Okay, so let's go over this instrument with a fine-tooth comb. So when you first take out this guitar from the gig bag, the appearance is rather striking. It is rather nice to look at. That see-through black, or as they call it, lunar finish, looks really nice on that flame maple veneer, and the glossy finish that they did over it is really well done. Go over this body, look at every little nook and cranny. You're not finding any inconsistencies as far as the finish goes. There's some inconsistencies with the natural binding where it wasn't quite masked off all the way here or there, but as far as the actual finish itself, it's smooth, it's nicely buffed, it looks really good, and it's nice and even with not really any like dips or dents or anything like that in there. It's really nice. The guitar does boast a spec that I didn't mention in the specs earlier, which is this Graphtec Nut, which is a really nice touch on a $400 instrument such as this. And it does lend itself to tuning stability. However, this guitar does suffer from some tuning stability issues all the same. I am fairly confident in saying that in this particular case, it's down to these Chapman branded tuners. The D tuner and the G tuner keep loosening, even though I've tightened the screw a little bit in the knob. They just keep loosening, and as a result, when you're tracking with this instrument, you have to keep retuning. The blade switch is at a different angle than I'm typically used to. It's at a little bit more pronounced of an angle heading towards the pickups, which I thought was, man, that's going to be a little uncomfortable, but I found that I got acclimated to it really, really quickly, especially the way I play. I'm always flipping the switch whenever I'm playing a solo. And to me, the angle was just perfect for that, actually. So, no problems here at all with that. Speaking of playing a solo, you do have a beveled edge along the back of the guitar right here, and you also have the bevel in the front too, which makes upper fret access just a little bit easier. Now, it could be still a little bit better. The upper fret access is great up until about the 22nd fret, but if you're trying to get to that 24th fret, it's just a little bit of a stretch, a little bit uncomfortable. Whatever, it's something that you can get acclimated to, I'm sure. As far as the neck itself, the neck has a typical C profile. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's just kind of unremarkable. It has this kind of smooth satin finish on the back. It's not super smooth like you would find on like an UNBIASED or something like that, but it's also not nearly as bad as you would find on like a Squire or something. So it is what it is. It's just a satin finish, unremarkable on an otherwise unremarkable C-shaped neck. It's not bad, it's not incredible. So let's talk about the fretboard and the fretwork. The fretwork is surprising for an instrument at this price point. The fret edges are very, very nice and smooth. There's no roughness to be found. When you look at it, it's not the prettiest fretwork you've ever seen in your life. You would kind of expect to be able to feel some, but you don't. The fretboard is rolled off ever so slightly. It's not a super rolled off edge, but there is a little bit of one there. And that definitely probably contributes to the smoothness along the side of the frets. The fret dressing aside, though, the fret crowning definitely leaves a little bit to be desired. These frets are kind of scratched up quite a bit, and this is a brand new instrument. Since I've had it, I've only played it maybe 4 hours, so it ain't me. The fretwork could just stand to be a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. Another thing that I can attest to being as part of the fretwork that was done in this instrument is, if you can see it right there, there are some very, very prominent black marks that are kind of on either side of the frets, which is kind of funny. I've never seen sunburst frets before. What we've determined that to be after talking with a luthier friend, Mr. Jamie from Helix Guitars, thank you so much for answering this question. We're pretty sure that what it is it is a polishing compound that was used to sort of kind of polish these frets. As you remember, I said that they're pretty scratched up, not really crowned all that nice. But that tells me that this fretboard, when it was being polished, was probably not masked off, not taped off at all, or if it was just taped off rather shoddily all the same, because there's now this black mess, this dirty, grimy mess that's kind of all along the frets. It's something that can be cleaned. I did do a little bit of test of that earlier today and was able to get some off with just a dry paper towel even, but the fact that that's there on a brand new instrument is just shoddy. That's very, very sloppy, and that doesn't really have any sort of excuse or explanation that I should order a brand spanking new instrument and have a dirty, grimy fretboard on it right out of the box. A few other points down to quality control that are a little concerning as you go over the instrument. You are finding a few places like here, there, where you could definitely tell maybe the fretboard got chipped or something, so they filled it in with epoxy. At an instrument of this price point, that's not as big of a call out. That's honestly kind of to be expected because, hey, it is what it is. It's a $400 guitar. They've got to be able to sell as many of these as possible, so sometimes shortcuts need to be taken. Sometimes instruments like this aren't necessarily to be scrapped so quickly. So I get it, I understand it. If this was an instrument that was twice as expensive, I would say that it's unacceptable, but on a $400 guitar, whatever, let it go. As far as the comfort and playability goes, you do have a nice arm cut here that's rather comfortable, a tummy cut on the back as well, and this bridge, despite having kind of a unique look to it, is nice and low profile. It's very, very comfortable to play on. Overall, quality control and playability wise and comfort wise, I would say that this guitar is pretty nice considering the price point. Moving on to how the instrument sounds, I was kind of let down here. The pickups, they are what they are. They don't sound downright terrible, but they don't sound incredible either. They just sound kind of meh. I would put them barely one step above anything that says Duncan Designed on it. They have ceramic magnets in it. The bridge pickup is about 12K. The neck pickup is about 10. So a little bit kind of medium hot output. The bridge humbucker has a decent enough rhythm tone, especially when you're recording and multi-tracking. You can really thicken things up in the post EQ or even just based upon what amp you're using. Lower the gain just a little bit because these are extremely fizzy pickups too. They're, again, you know, kind of typical for pickups that you find in a guitar of this price point. A little fizzy, a little bit less articulate. Just enough low end, though, that there again, when you multi-track it, it sounds kind of ballsy. There is also a coil split feature. That isn't bad. It's actually one of the redeeming factors about this bridge pickup. I actually kind of dig the coil split function on it. It doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound... I would even say that the coil split function sounds pretty darn good. You know, it doesn't sound like a true single coil, but it never really does for the most part. It just has just a little bit more bite, a little bit more of a growl to it, despite the fact that it is a ceramic magnet pickup. The rhythm tones, I just feel, are a little bit lacking. Being that it is a ceramic pickup, you do have a little bit of a shrill top end to it, but it just sounds a little mushy, a little bit less than articulate. The neck pickup really isn't all that much better either. It's not incredible, it's not remarkable, but I like the neck pickup a little bit better than the bridge pickup. It could stand to be a lot more vintage sounding. If you're looking for like those kind of smooth, fluid sounding, velvety neck pickup tones, this doesn't have it. But I still like it a lot better than the bridge pickup. The bridge pickup to me is just lacking quite a bit. So my final thought on the guitar is this. So what we have here is a guitar that is $400, and honestly, yeah, it truly plays and sounds and feels like a guitar in that $400 price point. There are some nice appointments on it. The beveled edges, the comfort, the really, really nice glossy finish, even the smoothness of the fret ends right here that are really, really, really nicely done on an instrument at this price point. If it was a choice between taking this onto a stage versus an Indonesian Ibanez, I would take this in a heartbeat. That being said, are there definitely some things on here that are a little bit less enjoyable, like the tuning stability, the pickups, etc.? Yeah, there's definitely some things that could have been improved upon this instrument. The quality control too is just a little bit lacking, you know, that gunk that's on the fretboard. Would I say that this is a winner? Would I say this is a loser? No, it's kind of in between. What I will say though is I'm pretty sure that this is probably a really exceptional modding platform. I mean, you've got a guitar that, for the things that I don't like, it is rather solidly built. I mean, the neck pocket is super tight on this thing for a $400 guitar. I've seen some instruments that are in the mid four figures range that are bolt on and the neck pocket still has a gap in there. This has no gap whatsoever, which definitely contributes a little bit to the sustain of the instrument. Yeah, this instrument is just solidly built. So if you were to swap out the tuners maybe for some hip shots or Planet Waves or Grovers, throw in some decent pickups of your choosing that are going to make this thing scream, I think this could actually be a rather solid stage-worthy instrument. But as it stands right now, no, not for me. So I know what you're saying. You're saying, Arnold, what are you drinking today? I'm glad you asked. Today, from the Lost Abbey, which is one of my favorite breweries, I am having Ex Cathedra, which is a Belgian-style quad that is barrel-aged with ginger and orange. Sure I am. That is, if I can get the cork out. Oh, there we go. Okay. It pours kind of a dark, cloudy copper color, almost like a really, really thick, dark apple cider. There's like no head whatsoever. Ooh, smells extremely boozy. And it tastes extremely boozy. There's lots of fruity notes in there, a little bit of citrus. I'm not really, despite there being a little bit of citrus, I'm not really detecting a whole hell of a lot of that orange or the ginger that's supposed to be in there. It is just tasting like a very dark, fruity ale with a lot of booze in there. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but the booziness is so potent that it's actually kind of burning the back of my throat a little bit, which is not something you typically get from something that is barrel aged, or at least not in my experience anyway. Maybe I've been spoiled, but it's not bad. It's not nearly as awesome as I was expecting it to be, though. So, yeah. So let me know what you guys thought. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Many more reviews to come. Hopefully a little bit better than this one.